corpse, exquisitely crafted like a work of art, was hung on a train. However, the murderer left no trace of the crime. Just as the police were at a loss, a second incident similar to an artistic creation occurred. The only difference from the previous one was that this time, the murderer left behind a signature, the Master Writer. The sheriff suddenly recalled that 5 years ago there was a serial killer who called himself the Master Writer and turned all his victims into sculptures. But that criminal had already been arrested by the police. However, the police officer, Lucy, believed that this new murderer was most likely just a copycat. So why not go directly to the real The Master Writer for help? Perhaps he could provide valuable clues. When Lucy arrived at the prison, the Master Writer seemed to have expected her visit. Even before Lucy introduced herself, he had already called out her name. Lucy didn't pay attention to this and immediately showed him the photos of the victims turned into sculptures. She pointed out that the murderer used the exact same preservative formula as his. The Master Writer smiled faintly and then agreed to assist in the investigation, but on one condition. He wanted all his previous artworks to be moved into the prison. In this way, he could compare them with the newly emerged works and find out the differences. Lucy quickly fulfilled his request and reconstructed his former workshop in the prison. By analyzing the crime scene photos provided by Lucy, the Master Writer noticed something unusual. He immediately asked Lucy to check it out. Sure enough, among the feathers of the right wing, she found a bottle of nail polish. The police took the bottle of nail polish for fingerprint identification, but the fingerprints on it had already been cleaned off completely. As the investigation fell into a deadlock again, a third artwork appeared. This time, Lucy found that the victim's fingernails were painted with different colors of nail polish. Between the victim's fingers, she also found a compass needle. The sheriff recognized it at a glance. This compass needle belonged to his old partner Mike, but Mike had already died 5 years ago when they arrested the Master Writer. When Lucy asked about the cause of Mike's death, the sheriff hesitated and mumbled that he had died in a car accident. Lucy immediately realized that the sheriff was hiding something. Not long after, another, even more bizarre artwork was discovered. After a careful inspection, Lucy found a sundial under the candlestick. Remembering the compass needle found on the previous victim, they immediately placed the needle on the sundial. After several spins, the needle pointed to a painting of a puppet. They moved the painting aside and found a cryptic message left by the murderer, but no one could decipher its meaning. Having no other choice, Lucy returned to the prison to find that the Master Writer again. This time, he put forward another condition. If she wanted to find out the true identity of the murderer, she had to agree to his other request to be the model for his sculpture. In order to solve the case, Lucy reluctantly agreed. Following the instructions given by the Master Writer, Lucy and the sheriff came to an address he provided. However, as soon as they stepped inside, they saw that the walls were covered with photos of Lucy.